Hi, everybody. It is late Thursday night, January 3rd, 2024. I hope everybody has been crushing our Pick Dawgz card tonight. Just 1 and 2 on the free picks, but the paid all access customers have absolutely been killing it. 5 and 1 so far. Actually, 5 and 2 now. 1 and 1 rather. Golden State didn't get the cover. Unfortunately, they got the push. That's a tough one. They should have put Denver away, but that's why they're the champs. So 5-1 and 1 so far. We have 2 other games pending tonight, but another fantastic night for the All Access customers. And for the people that just came on board yesterday, well, there you go. Winner number 1. So welcome to Against the Public. I'm Dana Lane. This is your first look at Friday's betting patterns and where you might want to steer clear of public opinion. Today, I've identified 3 more college basketball plays for Friday where early betting patterns seem to be going in the wrong direction, which is giving us a clear advantage. Speaking of an advantage, go to pickdawgz.com after the show. Get involved with my NBA 3-pack. Absolutely slated again last night, even though Golden State only pushed 2-0-1 on the night. So NBA customers got their win. The 3-pack customers got their win. And so we're going to go back and we're going to do it again. So I got 3 NBA plays up there right now, $49.99. You get all 3, which is a massive discount off of the individual game price. And of course, that comes with our Pick Dawgz win guarantee that states you must profit or receive an immediate site credit for the purchase price. Get my 3-pack, or better yet, like a few of you did yesterday, get my 30-day all-access pass, which gives you every single one of my plays for one low price over the next 30 days. You get the NBA, you get college basketball, the NHL's on fire, and of course, college football and the NFL speaks for itself. I've absolutely slayed both of those sports this year. Unfortunately, only one more college football game left, but we have plenty of NFL games left. So looking forward to that. Please get involved with my 30-day, my 90-day, or an all-access pass. Gives you access to every single one of my plays for one low price. We're going to crush 2024. So go to pickdawgz.com, get involved with one of those many packages. And if you need more convincing, this is what all access customers have been doing as of late. As we mentioned, on fire right now again tonight. 1,131 units of profit over the last week, 60% winners, number 1 amongst cappers with at least 60 plays. Over the last 30 days, all access customers are up 1,169 units. We've started out the year with 56% winners. We're going to try to maintain that the whole year through. And if we do that, everybody's going to be very happy, including myself, actually. We'll break that down a little bit further. Last 7 days in the NBA, 65% winners plus 525 units. 11-5 run in the National Hockey League with 502 units won. That's number 1 amongst cappers with at least 10 plays. 4-1 in the NFL last week, 6-3 college football with 1 game left to play, 64% NFL winners over the last 30 days, 55% NFL winners over the last 90 days, and then over to college football. Number 1 in college football, been that way for most of the year. That's just facts. That's not bragging. That's just the facts. 62.3 college football, 62.3% college football winners, plus 3,027 units over the last 90 days. And it just seems in college football we got stronger as the year went on. So please join me for that Washington-Michigan game. I have not put it up yet, but I will. Just gathering some last-second information before. I want to make sure that we've had a great year, but I want to put the cherry on top, and just waiting on some last-minute information from that. To end the year, though, 24-9 college football run, plus 1,392 units, number 1 overall capper, as we mentioned, but also number 1 overall capper when you combine the NFL and college football together. So lots of reasons to join me on the All Access Pass, but let's get to our free plays for Friday. And we're going to start 6:30 Eastern Time with game number 877, 878, UConn minus 5.5, 144.5 at Butler. This number opened at UConn minus 6.5 here in town. You could find that for about 30 seconds, and then it was immediately pounded down or adjusted to 5.5. But I suggest getting on this now because I think the public's going to come back on the Huskies. I think you're going to see some strong 5.5s, maybe some juice towards UConn. But probably around 6. If we saw 6s in the morning, I wouldn't be surprised. But 5.5 right now, so jump on that if you can get that 5.5, or maybe just kind of wait and sit back. I don't think it's going to go any higher than 6, but if you could find those 5.5s, obviously every half point counts. We have the Huskies, who have been pretty good against the number this season, 8-6, and current form shows that they've cashed 4 of the last 6 games. The Bulldogs are 7-6 against the spread, but they have dropped 5 straight after starting the season 7-1 against the number. These are interesting games to me as a handicapper because both of the losses this year for UConn have been true road games. One was against Kansas and one was against Seton Hall. And throughout the year, at least for me, I always make notes on certain teams and certain situations. And if UConn drops another road game, I'm certainly going to take notice of that. If they, come out and win this game, then, look, there's a lot of teams going to go into Kansas and lose, and a lot of teams are going to lose to Seton Hall. But 3 straight is telling me, hey, look, maybe this team is not as good as advertised when they get into those upper echelon games. Just a note, but this is an important game for me, and I will take extra focus or put extra focus on on how they do and apply that as we go on during the year. But with this loss, and it is going to be maybe time to take some notes on Dan Hurley's team and say, hey, you got to show me on the road against the better teams before we put some more money behind you. The Huskies are obviously one of the most dangerous teams in college basketball, but I expect them against Butler, who I just do not think is a good defensive team. I expect them to absolutely put that offense on display against Butler. 5.5 kind of scares me a little bit. It's been doing this long enough where I see certain numbers and I say, boy, that's a strange number. I expected this to be in that 6.5 range, and it's only in 5.5. And sometimes I wonder, maybe somebody knows something that I don't. Most of the time I run away from games like this, but I think it's just close enough where there are times where odds makers make mistakes too. We have to take that into account. They do that in the NHL constantly. So I'm going to take UConn in this spot minus the 5.5. So game number 2, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 879, 880 Niagara, the Purple Eagles. -3 on the road, 140 is your total at the Manhattan Jaspers, and this number has moved a bunch since opening. Niagara was -1, now up to -3, and if your book has 2.5, I would wait a little bit because I think 3s are coming right across the board. There's some juice on the side of that 2.5, but as soon as they're done with that, trying to attract that crowd that's willing to lay the juice, they're going to go up to 3 as soon as they do. The reason for the confidence is that Niagara has covered 4 straight games. They're coming off that quality win against Buffalo, and that win against Buffalo was on the road, which was their 4th straight road cover. So you would think they would be the play here. They're not going to go undefeated on the road for obviously, but the Jaspers are just 1-6 straight up. They're 3-4 ATS in that span. And despite all their flaws, and again, going back to just that organic, I've been doing this for a long time. Despite their flaws, we have seen Manhattan absolutely own Niagara over the years. They've won 7 of the last 10. That's only dating back to 2019, by the way. This is a good spot for Manhattan, who's going to face the Purple Eagles, who are not very aggressive on the boards. I've watched them a couple times this year, and it is not the ball goes up in the air and everybody crashes the boards. That's just not how they play. They're not very aggressive. They like to keep their offense inside the perimeter, so they're not going to run away from you very many times. And I think Manhattan has good enough guard play with Traore and Bender. I think they're going to keep this close, and they might get an outright win. No, I didn't say bet them on the money line plus the money. I said go get Manhattan plus the 3. And then game number 3, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 883, 884 to Fairfield Stags. -4.5, 139 is the total versus the Siena Saints. Man, this Siena team, I grew up not too far away from Siena. And I remember we've talked about this before. Every time I have Siena come up on my card, I always kind of start to reminisce about how good they used to be. We're going to look at the total on this, but shop around for this number because I see right now there's as low as 136.5 at some of the smaller books offshore. That is not going to sit there. That's going to go up. A consensus number should be about 138.5, maybe 139. See 139 here in town. That's why we're going with that number. But 136.5, that you're not going to find that anymore. I would be surprised. I can't check it right now, but I guarantee we're going to be in a 138.5 range on most books. Fairfield is an over team, but I don't know if they'll do enough to push Siena over with them. Siena's cashed 7 of the last 10 games. They've cashed under tickets, and that's the way Siena's got to play. They got to try to play defensive basketball. They're not going to push the pace because they know they just don't have the athletes to stay with most opponents on most nights. Siena, by the way, has had their way in this series. They've won 9 out of their last 10 games against Fairfield, but that last one was in their last meeting. Of course, that was last season. So it's a little bit of a revenge spot, even though I don't put too much emphasis on that because I think revenge spots are only for teams that honestly can take advantage of a revenge spot. I mean, I think the worst teams in college basketball in the NBA have been in revenge spots for the last 3 years. So just kind of take that lightly. But there is a history there of Siena playing very well against Fairfield. That game, by the way, last year featured just 114 points, and I think you're going to see more of that with both of these teams, especially Siena's more than willing to slow this pace down, and I think we're going to see a similar game. As bad as the Saints are, and I know some people that still are around the program, that say this and that about it, but I just don't think talk about teams that don't have the weapons to maybe take advantage of a revenge spot. I don't think on the flip side of that, I don't think Fairfield really does. They have a three-headed monster. They have really good guards there. When they're playing well together, that's when they're the most lethal. But when we saw against Lemoyne, we saw Fields, Floyd, and Jalen Leach. Against Lemoyne, they were absolutely horrific. And they did combine for 42 points, but 42 points does not tell the whole story. They shot 43% from the field. They were just 3 for 11 from 3. Again, Siena's had a bad season, but this is about the total, and I think we're going under the 139 here. So that does it for your 3 plays. Please go to pickdawgz.com. Get involved with my NBA 3-pack for just $49.99. My 30-day all-access pass comes out to be just $13.13 a day. 90-day pass is less than that, $9.66 a day. Both are locked in right now. No matter how you join me, please make sure you do. I could smell another one of these hot streaks again. I mean, it's like no matter what the sport, if you're turning profits every single night, you're going to go on one of those streaks. Just, again, been doing this a long time. Know when you're locked in. Know when you're not locked in. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, early in the year in the NHL, I was not locked in, which is ironic because the NHL sometimes is what I'm identified with just because of my background. But locked in with that now as well. And, look, get on board as quickly as possible because 2024, like I told you, is going to be our best year by far. I absolutely can feel it. I told you at the end of in the fall in 2023, I told you the NFL and college football was going to be our best, and it absolutely was. So ride with me to the top of get in the elevator and ride to the top or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with a cool metaphor. But anyway, our free plays tonight. Here's our recap. UConn minus 5.5. Manhattan plus 3. Fairfield Siena under 139. Sometimes you make a joke and you wish you didn't. That does it for today's show. I'm Dana Lane. Thank you for joining me on Against the Public. I wish you all the best with your wagers on Friday.